Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be watching I'm going to watch Superman Unbound and give my review on it, as well as my thoughts and comparing what the difference is between the movie and the comic it's based on. Superman Brainiac is the comic that Superman Unbound is based on. Written by Jeff Johns, having managed to get an animated adaptation in 5 years since the storyline's release. This comic was released in 2008, and this movie that it's based on came out in 2013, 1 month before Man of Steel. And I'm going to simply read it. Millions in peril, only one Superman to save them. An unstoppable android on the horizon, a mysterious fireball hurling towards Earth, a fearless and beautiful reporter who'll stop at nothing to get her story. It's just another day for the heroic Man of Steel, only this time, for better or for worse, he has his unpredictable cousin Supergirl by his side. The gritty adventure begins as Superman learns about the ruthless force known as Brainiac, who has seized and miniaturized Krypton's capital city of Kandor. Determined to liberate the captured metropolis and protect his home planet from Brainiac's increasing power, Superman takes on his most menacing enemy yet in the DC Universe and original movie, based on the gripping comic book miniseries. It stars Matt Boomer, Stanek Haddock, John Noble, and Molly Quinn. I'm going to watch this movie at 4 o'clock later. For now, I'm just going to relax a while after getting back from work. Good evening, guys. And today I just watched Superman Unbound, and I'm giving my review right now. The movie was very cool, was awesome, animated. More of a reason why we need a live adaptation of the very comic storyline that it's based on. Miniseries, if you exact. And again, I'm going to show you. Based on this comic, from getting a good watch out of this movie, Superman Unbound, it's more of a reason why we need a live-action movie based on this mini-series of a comic book storyline, focusing on Superman's confrontation with his arch-enemy, Brainiac. Now I'm going to give you my review. The film starts off showing us Brainiac transforming into what he is in the film. He goes off to the world, terrorizing the population in each planet, goes after their capital cities, traps them in bottles, and before firing solar aggressor missiles at their suns to wipe them out, which is absolutely evil and insane. Superman makes his opening appearance, stopping terrorists from kidnapping Lois, and has Supergirl helping him bust the kidnapping that was being done by Chopper. Supergirl is a hothead, and Superman is there to mentor her. And of course, wow, Superman is struggling to balance his life as who he is as Kal-El and his human life as Clark Kent. He works at the Daily Planet. The animated movie I watched, Superman Unbound, takes place 30 years after the plot of the film takes place 30 years after Brainiac hijacks Krypton's capital city of Kandor, taking it in the very mass population of people trapped inside with them. And it left Supergirl scared for years, and which is why she's struggling to try to keep up with keeping up with Superman. Then when one of Brainiac's sentry drones arrives, Superman was able to take it out and strip it of its transmitter. Supergirl is scared. She tries to destroy it, but Superman was there to help comfort her and help her overcome her fear. And is willing to take full responsibility of going after Brainiac to save their hostage city of Kandor. Lois, on the other hand, wants to have an actual normal life with Kal-El as Clark Kent. And after their embrace, Superman goes inside his Kryptonian scout ship to find Brainiac, who was attacking one of the planets out in space, overpowering the planet's capital city's military. Superman tries to stop them while taking out as many robots as he can, but Brainiac had powerful defense systems were too much for Superman, and he ends up knocking out Superman at the moment he blows up the sun of the planet revolves in, right after he takes that capital city inside a bottle generated by his own ship. Now, next, Supergirl is on Earth all on her own, taking on terrorists, criminals, pirates, warlords, militias, all by herself, calls them bullies. And she and Lois do form a good friendship too. When Superman wakes up, he confronts Brainiac, who puts him inside of Kandor, and where Superman meets his aunt and uncle and all the Kryptonians that were trapped inside the bottled city for 30 years. He meets his aunt and uncle and eats Kryptonian food, which obviously is similar to normal food we eat here on Earth. Jor-El explains everything to Superman about what he knows on Brainiac. Afterwards, Superman manages to escape using the security drones Brainiac sent to try to suppress him. He gets out, confronts Brainiac, beats him with a metal eye beam. And rips the plugs out of his head, which is kind of reckless, and then punches him out cold, and disables the ship long enough to escape with the bottled city of Kandor. Then Brainiac wakes up, furious. As Superman escaped with the bottled city of Kandor, uses his technokinetic powers to repair his ship, bring it back online, and then starts invading Earth. Targets Metropolis, sends his attack drones out to round up all the civilians, kill all that stand in his way, and which he finds redundant. Then Superman and Supergirl go out to stop him, but then end up captured. Supergirl ends up in captivity where Brainiac seeks to keep her and make her one of his own. Superman, after a conversation with Brainiac, breaks free, subdues him, and frees Supergirl. Then the two take on Brainiac's robots before Brainiac fires a solar aggressor missile directly at the sun, which Supergirl was able to stop. Then And while she was pursuing the missile, Superman takes Brainiac out of his ship and fights him and battles him inside in a muddy swamp marshland somewhere south, probably Louisiana or Africa, close to the sea. From there, Superman, with all the noise and the chaos, overwhelmed Brainiac enough to strain him into getting defeated easily by Superman, who nailed him with a couple punches. And of course, Brainiac couldn't understand Earth physically outside of his ship, just his own bottled versions of them. Superman was able to beat him a couple times, and after Supergirl stops the missile from hitting the sun, Brainiac melts until he's reduced to a small cube that has been shut off. And Superman locks him up in his fortress of solitude, along with his remains. In the end, he and Supergirl bring Metropolis back to where it was taken, safely secured as many of those ships that Brainiac held in captivity, and brought Kandor to another place someplace in outer space where there was a red sun to restore it back to its regular size, so that people can rebuild and regain what was taken from them years ago. At the very end, Superman returns to Metropolis as Clark Kent, kisses Lois, lets her know that he understands her completely, and in the end he proposes to her, and she said yes. There you have it. That is my review. Now, I'm going to be comparing the differences between the movie and the comic it was based on in a different segment. For now, I'm going to head out while I can before the sun goes down. So I'll start a comparison, comparing the difference between the comic storyline and the animated movie later. For now, later guys. I'm back, and as promised, I would do another video to compile on, to compare, to lay out the differences between both the comic and the animated adaptation to it. The animated adaptation is a lighter version than that of the comic. For instance, at the start you get General Zod and Ursa in a flashback, and you also have Nan in an archive recording. But in the animated movie, it doesn't show those enemies fought by Superman. It shows Jor-El being the one that talks to Superman about Brainiac. Also, Lois does not get kidnapped by terrorists like she did in the animated movies. And you don't see Supergirl fighting paramilitary forces or any forces of evil out there like you do in the animated movie. Also, in the movie, in the universe of this movie, Superman makes his first encounter with Brainiac. But here in the comic, he meets the actual Brainiac that's been controlling all the other android replicas of himself. As for his first fight against his drones, as I watched from the animated movie, Superman battled the first Sentry drone out in the desert of Arizona, but here in the comics, he was shown battling the drone up on a waterfall in a grassy forest area, somewhere in the western parts of the United States of America, or maybe somewhere where there's plenty of green forest and waterfalls. Pa Kent doesn't have any dialogue, and you don't see him talking to Superman in the animated movie as he does here in the comics. Oh yeah. Cat Grant doesn't she doesn't have any lines in the animated movie as she does here in the comics. And Supergirl doesn't have any episode encounters with her either. Knowing that it would not be appropriate for kids to see, yeah, something like that. All right. Once Superman is captured by Brainiac in the comics, he does not get teleported into the bottled city of Kandor to meet his aunt and uncle like he did in the animated movie. He just communicates. He communicates with them from the outside. From outside the bottle. And while he was there, the entire... And while he was there, he was on the ship. He was on Brainiac's ship most of the time. Well, most of the time, he was on the ship confronting Brainiac while Brainiac sent his forces to invade Metropolis. And Supergirl was on her own, facing off against him. Steve Lombard and his... Now, for Steve Lombard, unlike the animated movie, he in the comics was able to kick ass, and he was seen with Ron Tropp shoving table desks right into Brainiac's sentry droids. But here in the animated movie, Jimmy Olsen helps Ron take out the trash. In this case, 5 of them with a desk. Cat Grant in the book on the other hand was the damsel in distress that was saved by Lombard and Ron Tropp. But here, Lombard was saved by Jimmy Olsen and Ron Tropp. You don't see in this comic, while people are fleeing for their lives to escape the wrath of Brainiac, you don't see them getting killed like you do in the animated movie, along with some of their military forces. Also, Superman here in the movie rescues Kandor from Brainiac and keeps it safe inside the Fortress of Solitude. He escapes with it along with Metropolis from Brainiac's clutches in the comics at the same time. Now, in the comics, Superman's fight with Brainiac comes to an end by stomping him down into the muddy swamplands of Earth and stomps on him while holding on to the bottled cities of Kandor and Metropolis. But here, he leaves Metropolis on board Brainiac's ship while having Kandor safely hidden inside the Fortress of Solitude. And of course, he gets to fight Brainiac for an ample amount of time in the swamplands while Supergirl stops the villain's solar aggregator missile. Here in the comics, Brainiac, after being defeated by Superman, retaliates by launching his missile at Ma and Pa Kent's home in Kansas, while Superman is busy bringing back Metropolis and Kandor. In the end, Pa Kent died, risking his life to save his wife from dying. But here in the animated movie, he's alive. In the comics, the ending was sad for Superman, but here in the animated movie, it was a happy ending for him and Kara. And also, as for the Battle City of Kandor, in the comics, it was taken back to his home. Back to his home city. It was taken in here. The Battle City of Kandor exploded just before Superman could get it back. It could get it into the Fortress of Solitude to stop it from growing. But here, he was able to get the Battle City of Kandor to another planet. Somewhere where there was a red sun. And Supergirl was there to help him with that, as well as putting Metropolis back where it belonged. As for the very end of the animated movie, he proposes to Lois, but here in the comics, he grieves over the death of his adopted father, Jonathan Kent. And that's the difference. Well, there you have it on my comparison, on how I compare the difference between the two, between both the movie and the comic series storyline. Now, I'm still looking to do even more. I still like to see a live action movie based adaptation of this storyline. Superman fighting Brainiac. It's been held back from us for far too long by Warner Brothers and the rest of Hollywood as a whole these days. And I don't want them being woken up. I don't want Brainiac looking female or trans, and I don't want him being dwarfed. I want him to be the way he is. Either that or how he's portrayed in the Injustice games, as well as letting Zack or anyone give him more accessories to make him look fit for a live action movie. I also want Superman and Clark Kent to stay white as well, like whether some of you like it or not, because we are owed this kind of thing. We are owed a live action Superman versus Brainiac movie by Warner Brothers for years, and the corporate culture has been a huge major issue. Constantly meddling and constant changing of leadership and constantly selling the studio off to other companies has caused so much problems. Yeah, and the bigger the corporation and the bigger the problems and the more of them there are. Anyway, I want you guys to buy this comic storyline, buy this book, buy this series of comics stored inside this storyline. Buy this storyline, Superman versus Brainiac. We need to buy enough of these if we are to get the Hollywood to start doing a live adaptation on this thing. After all, the death of Superman storyline in the 92 sold like wildfire, which is how we were able to get Doomsday as the final villain, as the big bad for Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman to fight against in Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice instead of Metallo, which does bum me out, but it gives me hope. If we can get plenty of copies like these sold, we would definitely, more than 1 million, probably 5 to 10 million copies sold, it would actually work. It would actually help to get the corporate culture to stop meddling and start taking interest in making a live adaptation of Superman's confrontation with Brainiac in this comic book I got here. And they should. Now, I know they can't exactly make them 100% exactly what as shown of what goes on from the comics and the movies, but they will, and they are to implement some of the most important elements and most important scenes from the comics into the live-action film once we get the chance. And they should be free to add other villains like Metallo and Silver Banshee as well to make it interesting. To make sure that all these years of stall and meddling is worth our weight. For now, hashtag make Superman vs. Brainiac live action movie now. Hashtag Brainiac now. Hashtag make Man of Steel 2. Hashtag bring back Henry and Sasha Calle. Hashtag restore the Snyderverse. Hashtag make Cousins of Steel live action movie. Hashtag give Brainiac a chance in a live action movie. Hashtag Superman Brainiac. There. Go buy this book. Go and find issues and copies of it in your nearest store or online at your favorite online store. Get it while you can. We have got to start making a difference here, people. So, and there, you've got my review on the movie. I give it 9.5 out of 10, mainly because I think it would have also helped if they included that heartwarming scene of Kal-El, aka Superman. Now, I know it's a lot of Brainiac and stuff, but they should have added some scenes with him and his adopted father, Jonathan Kent, in it. However, I do deem Superman Unbound to be the #1 animated Superman movie of all time. More #1 than any other animated movie that I have ever seen, which is more of a reason why we want a live action Superman movie with Superman teaming up with Supergirl against Brainiac and other villains like Silver Banshee, Metallo, and maybe even Cyborg Superman if they allow actual creativity back in the hands of actual creatives soon as we have that chance someday. Also, while I understand Brainiac is a big and very complicated foe, he's not too big to appear in a standalone Superman movie, as long as you've got other heroes like Supergirl around to help him out, as well, and maybe even Martian Manhunter too. Anyway, that's all I have for tonight, folks. Be sure to share this video with others who are all in favor of Superman Brainiac getting a live action movie based adaptation made right away, and for the corporate culture to stop turning down this opportunity for an awesome live action movie based off this comic book storyline. So go buy Superman vs. Brainiac now. And good night.